This tweet is from Time magazine from the 23rd of October. The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab. And it's an image of the world being reconstructed. The world is supposed to be massively reordered after the COVID crisis. Almost like the crisis itself was part of the re-engineering process. So, let's connect a few more dots in this global plan. 2016, Klaus Schwab was interviewed in this video on YouTube for the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, and he was talking about the glorious Fourth Industrial Revolution of his.
The Fourth Industrial Revolution will impact our lives completely. It will not only change how we communicate, how we produce, how we consume, it will change actually us, our own identity. What we will see is that everything will be integrated into an ecosystem driven by big data and driven particularly by close cooperation also of governments with business, civil society. And this revolution will come at a breathtaking speed. It will be like a tsunami. So what the World Economic Forum is doing is to promote this public-private cooperation to master the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
So people will have to reskill, and every industry has to redefine a new business model. Just like what we're being told today under the new Great Reset, which is meant to reshape and re-engineer our entire society, or like what's outlined in this gigantic graph thingy about the Great Reset on the World Economic Forum website. You know what Klaus Schwab said in his book from 2018, Shaping the Fourth Industrial Revolution? Public-private data sharing agreements that break glass in case of emergency. These come into play only under pre-agreed emergency circumstances, such as a pandemic, and can help reduce delays and improve the coordination of first responders, temporarily allowing data sharing that would be illegal under normal circumstances. In case any part of the Great Reset or the Fourth Industrial Revolution sounded similar to the UN's Agenda 2030 project, well, there's a good reason for that. This article is from June of 2019. World Economic Forum and UN sign strategic partnership framework, building on existing and new collaborations. That would explain the close alignment of the UN and the World Economic Forum. The World Health Organization just happens to be an arm of the UN, the same World Health Organization that declared a pandemic in March of 2020, and that pandemic just happened to help create the kind of societal and economic upheaval and reordering that assists the UN and the World Economic Forum to accelerate their implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. You know, the same World Health Organization that has a history of faking pandemics in the past.
It is one of the greatest medical scandals of the century, according to a leading health expert in Brussels. The Council of Europe health chief has accused major pharmaceutical firms of organizing a campaign of panic and unduly influencing World Health Organization decisions. And with European countries now burdened with bills for millions of unwanted doses of the swine flu vaccine, he wants an investigation. Our science correspondent Tom Clark has this report.
If only the mainstream media were as skeptical today as they were 10 years ago.
Flu viruses can spread.
64,000 people dead, tens of thousands hospitalised, a country crippled by a virus. The predictions of the impact of swine flu on Britain were grim. The government's response, spending hundreds of millions of pounds on antiviral drugs and vaccines, adverts and leaflets. But 10 months into the pandemic, only 355 Britons have died, and globally, the virus hasn't lived up to our fears. Were governments misled into preparing for the worst? Politicians in Brussels are now asking for an investigation into the role pharmaceutical companies played in influencing political decisions that led to a swine flu spending spree.
There must be a process to get more transparency, how the decisions in the WHO, how they function, and who is influencing the decisions of the WHO, and what is the role of the pharmaceutical industry there. I'm very suspicious about the processes which are behind this pandemic.
The Council of Europe Committee want the investigation to focus on the World Health Organization's decision to lower the threshold required for a pandemic to be formally declared.
Is anyone else getting a very strong sense of déjà vu here?
The world is now at the start of the 2009 influenza pandemic.
When this happened in June last year, governments had to activate huge pre-prepared contracts for drugs and vaccines with manufacturers. They also want to probe ties between key WHO advisors and drug companies.
All I can say is, memories are very short.
Who is deciding what the risk is? Is it the pharmaceutical companies who want to sell drugs, or is it someone making a decision based on the perceived danger? In this case, it appears that the danger was vastly exaggerated. And was it exaggerated by the pharmaceutical companies in order to make money?
Let's move on. The following video was uploaded to the World Economic Forum YouTube channel on October 20th.
COVID-19 is one of the biggest crises of our time. It has impacted every single one of us, shaken our social systems, and disrupted every sector of our economies.
That's what Klaus Schwab has been saying the Fourth Industrial Revolution was going to do long before COVID-19 came along.
The automation of work, combined with a global recession, led workers to lose their jobs at an accelerated pace compared to previous years. And this trend is expected to continue. The ongoing shift in the division of labor between humans, machines, and algorithms might displace 85 million jobs worldwide in the next 5 years.
Of course, we could just stop all of this and decide that certain levels of automation are not good for human beings and will only benefit the supremely wealthy.
While 97 million new roles, ones that are more adapted to this new task distribution, may emerge. By 2025, companies expect to displace roughly 6% of their total workforce. 1 in 2 workers will need reskilling, and those remaining in their current roles will need to update 40% of their skill set to adapt to the changing labor market.
Wait, hold on a second. You started this video off by talking about COVID-19, a virus. And now you've segued into talking about changes to the labor market and people having to adapt and reskill because of where the economy is going, because of the Great Reset or something. But what's any of this got to do with a virus if all of these plans were already in motion for years because of the Fourth Industrial Revolution? What you're talking about couldn't have less to do with COVID-19.
There is a way to collectively benefit from these challenging times. Decades of research have shown that the most valuable asset of any economy or company is its human capital.
Not people, not humans, human capital. Also notice that everybody is wearing face masks in this office.
Around the globe, companies are already experiencing a shortage in relevant skills for future roles and are investing in reskilling and upskilling their workforce. By 2025, organizations say they will train over 70% of their employees to ensure they can smoothly transition into the jobs of tomorrow. These include DevOps engineers, artificial intelligence specialists, digital marketing managers, talent acquisition specialists, and customer success specialists.
The reason this video now has nothing to do with COVID, despite starting off talking about it, is because the agenda was always the Great Reset and the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
It will take on average between 2 weeks and 5 months for workers to pick up new skills, allowing them to move into these new roles. But data shows they won't need to have the perfect skill set to start transitioning. While 2/3 of employers expect to get a return on investment in employees' reskilling programs within just 1 year, governments will also need to step in to update and fund education and training systems and to ensure displaced workers have adequate safety nets. With purposeful leadership and collaboration,
Notice the face masks again. The COVID regulations have nothing to do with controlling a virus and everything to do with controlling human beings. This article is from the BBC. COVID in Wales. Supermarket rules will not be reversed. Rules banning shops selling non-essential items during Wales' firebreak lockdown will not be reversed. They're now telling people what products they're allowed to buy in shops. Why? What has banning the sale of clothes got to do with stopping a virus? This article is from extra.ie. Leo Varadkar confirms supermarkets are not allowed to sell clothes or toys during level 5. You know, it's strange. I'm pretty sure clothes, shoes and bedding are essential items. And who gets to determine what items are essential or not? The same people, I guess, who are determining that it's not essential that you get to see your elderly dying loved one in a care home in their final moments. The same people deciding that your business must be closed and you cannot reopen. The same people determining what activities are essential and non-essential, and what jobs are essential and non-essential. The same people determining how far you're allowed to travel from your home. This article is from Ireland and it's from the ionainstitute.ie. Clergy who hold acts of public worship can go to prison under new COVID measures. Under new COVID restrictions passed into law last night in the Dáil, a priest can now be fined or imprisoned or both for saying Mass in public. This is drastic, draconian and unacceptable and must raise questions about the constitutionality of the measure, quite apart from its total disproportionality. State of California Health and Human Services Agency, California Department of Public Health. Subject: Guidance for private gatherings. This is guidance for private gatherings. It's truly incredible, folks, the amount of ground that the public have now ceded to their governments around the world. The fact that people actually acquiesce to laws and policies curtailing what they can do, even in the privacy of their own home, and who is allowed in their home, and how many people they're allowed to gather with indoors and outdoors. Unreal.